Middle-earth: Shadow of War is a game that we played a little bit of on the channel quite a while back, and it's actually receiving a new update that's pretty interesting and is going to be changing the game a lot. Now, this is an older game, so you might be wondering, why are we talking about this now? It's been half a year. It's been over 6 months, since the release of this game. What's the point of this update? Why does it matter? And I think that's fair. A lot of the news that I know I personally have talked about in the last year has been involving practices of the gaming, not the entire gaming industry. And I'm trying to think of how to word this, but there's certainly, while this may not seem like an important step, or it may not seem like an important gesture, it's following the massive controversy and backlash that was levied against Battlefront 2 for its borderline pay-to-win systems. And I really do think that this is very indicative of what we're going to be seeing in the next year, at least in gaming. There has been a massive pushback in the market from consumers against pay-to-win, against gameplay affecting microtransactions, ones that aren't just cosmetic. Like, you have Overwatch, right? And you can buy skins in Overwatch. Basically, you're buying loot crates to get skins, but you're not buying anything that massively affects the game. There's no gameplay tweaks from these skins. Nothing's changing the game from the in-game purchases. And that's very different from the way that Battlefront 2 held their microtransactions, and also how Shadow of War did. Now, the original Shadow of Mordor was very interesting because there were no microtransactions really at all. There was DLC that you could buy, but it didn't affect the gameplay in the sense that you were not buying loot crates to get orcs. Because in Shadow of War, you're buying loot crates, right? You're getting gold to buy these crates to get better orcs for your army, and that makes the game easier. If you don't buy these crates, it makes it much more of a grind. It makes it more annoying and obnoxious. It makes the game take way longer to complete, and it's just generally tedious. Now, a concern I had when they had announced this is that this would undermine the Nemesis system that they promoted so much, the improved Nemesis system that they wanted to shine through in this game. And they were like, oh, no, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And it totally was. Everybody was really pissed off about it. It did affect the Nemesis system massively. Good luck getting legendary orcs without buying crates. There's not that many of them in the game. You're lucky to run across half as many as you did in the original Shadow of Mordor, as far as good orcs, like very good orcs. While the tiering system is different, so it's hard to compare the two, the point remains that the original Shadow of Mordor was all gameplay focused. There was no buying your way to victory. There was no buying an easier game. It was just, hey man, this is what it is, and yes, it is situational. Your friend might find 5 better orcs than you ever will, but that's the game, you have to go out there, you have to search, you have to find your army, build it, put it together, and good luck to you. This game was not that way, and fans were really upset. I was irritated by it personally, but I was never really super triggered about it. I just thought it was a really dumb way to handle it. And I guess finally, WB Games has basically come out and said, yeah, it was stupid. WB Games and Monolith, they're actually removing these gold and the market generally from the game. So it's weird how this is going to work, because there are still going to be loot boxes. It's just you can't buy them with real money anymore. You'll be able to earn and spend Mirian, but gold you will not be able to earn or spend after July 17th. That's going to be going away, and the market will permanently close according to the WB Games forum for this game. Now, it's important to remember that they are waiting until July 17th, so it's not super soon. They certainly are taking their time implementing this, but it's definitely a positive step, because I think it shows that the consumer backlash to this practice is definitely having an effect on the industry. We also have the fact that you have the Hawaiian state representative pushing for laws against this and calling it gambling. You have other countries that are looking into it. Some have said it's not gambling, some say they believe it is. Basically, there's just a massive pushback against this practice, and we're definitely seeing the result of that. So even though this is going away, the garrison will still be available. Basically, you're still going to be able to use anything you haven't used so far, and any gold amounts of 150 or more will be converted into gold chests, which you can open even after this, after July 17th. And there's going to actually be more legendary orcs in the game now, because otherwise it's just too hard to get them, which to me is confirmation that that number was limited in order to promote the selling of these chests. Now, even though they didn't say that, they did not say that that was the reason that the numbers were where they were. That's always what I believed, and the fact that they're increasing it when this goes away, to me it's a sign that says, like, hey, without the ability to use gold to buy these chests, you're not going to find many of these guys at all. Otherwise they wouldn't need to tweak it, you know? Like, if it was the way they had originally said, where it's not going to be an issue, not going to be a problem, you would never need to update this. Even if you close the market, you'd still be able to find these guys relatively, not easily, or plentifully, but you'd be able to find them in the game. And the fact that they're changing this means that you probably never could very easily find them, which confirms my personal play experience and what I've heard from a lot of others. Shadow Wars are also going to change in a very interesting way that they haven't actually outlined. They just said that they're going to be making it less grindy, more narrative focused, so I guess it's not going to be like as just, hey, grind out 20 some fortresses, good luck. They're going to be doing some stuff with it, and they do still plan to add Nemesis System updates, new skins, skill tree additions, gear system upgrades, and progression updates. We just don't know when those things will be in the game quite yet. We just have this July 17th date for when the Shadow Wars update is happening and when these microtransactions are being pulled. You're not going to be able to buy things anymore with real world money. I think this is definitely awesome to see. It's great. I just, yes, like, I give WB Games and Monolith credit for doing this, but you wouldn't have had to do this if you didn't muck it up so bad in the first place by putting this in your game. I understand, you know, you're a corporation, you want to make money, but I don't know at what point it's really worth all the negative publicity and bad faith you're getting with consumers like me, who were super excited to play this game, and even though we enjoyed it, we're ultimately very disappointed. It's really sad to see that that Shadow of Mordor was a far superior game to this one just because of the lack of buying victory. There wasn't that ability. It was just, hey, go out there, good luck, kid. You might get screwed, you might do great. Sometimes stuff happens and you'll just lose a member of your army, but there's more people out there. This game would directly punish you, because if you lose a member of your army that you paid for, there wasn't always an easy way to get them back, and even if you did resurrect them, they're a zombie form that would lose levels every time you would resurrect them, so they get worse and worse. So you can buy things, right? Like the way it is now, you could buy gold chests, you could get these better orcs, you could make a better army off of buying it with real money, but then you might lose those orcs anyway, so then your money's just gone. It doesn't even matter. It's like you just kind of threw it down the toilet. It was just a stupid way to do things. I don't think anyone really appreciated it other than WB Games, and I'm glad it's changing. I hope to see more of this in the future. Like I've said before, I'm not really that opposed to, like, skins. You know, you want to sell your skins? Fine. I know games are expensive. I know gamers are relatively cheap people who don't want to spend more than $60 on a game, if they'll even spend that. And I'm talking generally. I know there's some who will pour tons of money into this hobby, but a lot won't. And I understand that. I understand that technically games should be like at least $80 if we had gone with inflation. $80 to $90 games should be the thing. They're not. So I understand needing to recoup more money, you wanting to make your product more profitable, but I just don't think this is the way WB went about it, or the way that Battlefront 2 had gone about it, and I really hope that we're going to see a migration away from this business practice towards something that's actually more beneficial, or at least not harmful to the consumers. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.